Hi. So I want to explain a little bit about bipolar disorder and what it is, and the feeling of your emotions going up and down, and those mood swings that all people feel, but it's not quite like that. So often what causes bipolar disorder is either it's generational or it's the chemicals in your brain misfiring. It can also be your environment. So sometimes with bipolar disorder, you'll feel depressed, so you'll go to the doctors for treatment. And then all of a sudden, you'll have a manic episode, which means you feel amazing and you don't feel depressed at all. But that isn't always what happens. Often, bipolar disorder is this back and forth. So personally, I am bipolar, and at the age of 24, doctor diagnosed me with depression only. I didn't have the manic episodes, but then I would feel great and I'd go to the doctor for treatment, and I would be like, nope, I'm fine, I don't need it today. So finally, we got the correct diagnosis of bipolar. So how do you know if you're bipolar? And what does it feel like? Well, if you're manic, sometimes you feel like you're on this high. You feel like you can do anything, and you'll start spending money, lots of money. You'll feel everything bothers you, and you'll get mad at a lot of things. Sometimes you'll just be extremely angry and picky, and you may get in trouble a lot or get in a lot of situations that are not safe or good for your health. Now, depression, on the other side, most people know the meaning of depression. They don't want to do anything. They don't eat. They sleep a lot, or maybe not enough. Sometimes they'll start gaining weight, and sometimes they'll lose weight. They don't want their social group to really know. They want to be alone. They don't really hang out with people. They're constantly in bed. They think, okay, I will get ready, I will go out, and then they don't. Sometimes you even feel suicidal. So someone who's labeled bipolar, they tend to have a family doctor that will diagnose them and refer them to a psychiatrist. So how do you treat bipolar disorder? Well, there's three ways. First of all, you can take medicine. You can have therapy sessions where you talk it out. And sometimes it's just things that you do every day that you can change in your life to help you. Sleeping on a regular schedule, eating on a regular schedule, taking your medicine on a regular schedule. Those things can help. The most important thing, though, is that support from your family and friends. That support system, you could say, where you can depend on people to help you out when you can't help yourself. Sometimes it's spouse or parents or your own children can help you. So your friends, your boss, you may not need everyone to help you with bipolar disorder, but you need a few people that you can trust. So two different kinds of bipolar. There's bipolar 1 and there's bipolar 2. And the doctor says, I just want to let you know that you will need to take bipolar medicine, and here's your prescriptions. Good luck. Bipolar 1 means that your mood can change at very, very different times, and it's very drastically. Where bipolar 2 is light, you could say, where your mood shifts more gradually. You still have to take care of it and pay attention, but it's not quite as drastic as bipolar 1. So, for myself, I decided 8 years ago that I would start taking medicine I would be taking medication for the rest of my life for my bipolar disorder. So, that was a hard struggle for me to accept the diagnosis. And sometimes you take your medicine and you go through your day and you feel like that you don't want to take it anymore, and that you're done with it. That you don't want to take your medicine, or you don't want to go to therapy. Depends on the people to help keep you at a level state of mind. But there's something you have to accept, and it's important for me, not for you, but for me. It's important for my progress to accept that about myself. And say, okay, I will take the medicine, and I don't want to be, I don't want you to be naive, and I want you to understand that there's different processes for different treatments, but not all medicine is the same. There are side effects. For my bipolar, I take 6 different medications, and each one is different, but I know all of them. It's important to feel that empowerment, because if you're hard of hearing or deaf, it doesn't matter. You should have that empowerment, and you can be happy if you accept your bipolar disorder. It is possible. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or comment on this post. Thank you so much. Hi. So I want to discuss a little bit about bipolar disorder. So what is bipolar disorder, and what does that feeling mean of that up and down experience? So it's a natural occurrence for all people to feel a little bit of emotion, but it's not the same with bipolar disorder. So what is bipolar disorder exactly? So it can be caused generationally. It could also be caused by the chemistry in your brain misfiring, or your environment can affect it as well. So how can you tell if you have bipolar disorder? Well, it feels like you're depressed and worn out. Sometimes you go to the doctor for treatment, but then you feel these manic episodes where you're elated. But you don't go to the doctor because you feel excited. You don't need therapy for being happy. So often, bipolar disorder gets misdiagnosed. So, for myself, personally, I have bipolar disorder. When I was 34, I went to the doctor and was diagnosed with, when I was 34, I was diagnosed with depression. But when I was having a manic episode, I didn't go into the doctor, so I was misdiagnosed. So, finally, I got the right diagnosis of bipolar disorder and not depression. So how do you know if you have that bipolar disorder? If you're manic, sometimes you feel like you're on this high. You feel like you can't be defeated. You go on shopping sprees, or everything just bothers you. You get really angry. Sometimes you can even be a little promiscuous. Now, another problem is enforcement or bosses. There may be a lot of conflicts that come up. Now, this is manic episodes. On the other side of this is depression. So most people know what depression means. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to eat anything. You sleep a lot or you don't sleep at all. Sometimes you will gain weight and sometimes you will lose weight. You don't really want to interact with people. Sometimes you just want to be alone and isolated and by yourself. You sleep all day. You just feel like getting out of bed and getting ready is just pointless. And sometimes you feel suicidal. Now, typically, psychiatrists will diagnose you with bipolar disorder. Sometimes a family doctor will, but for the most part, family doctor will refer you to a psychiatrist. So, what are some treatments for bipolar disorder? So, there's three main ones. First one is medications. The second is group therapy, where you talk out your problems. And the last one is simply just changing your everyday routine can help. Doing things like sleeping on a regular schedule, eating regularly, and taking your medicines correctly. Those three are big factors. But the most important contribution to treatment is family and friend support. Having that support system who can help you if you need something or if you can't do it yourself. They will talk to you. Maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your children, just someone that can support you. Maybe it's your friends or your boss, someone that you can trust. Now, do you need to tell everyone that you have bipolar disorder? Not necessarily, but just having a few select group that you can trust will really benefit your experience. So there's two types of bipolar disorder. There's bipolar 1 and then there's bipolar 2. So most times a doctor will inform you that you have bipolar disorder. They'll give you a prescription and send you on your way. But the difference is bipolar 1, your mood is very drastic. There's sharp changes. You're manic and then you're depressive. It's very, very serious. Where on the other side, bipolar 2 is almost lighter. It's less severe. It's more gradual changes, but it's still something that you need to pay close attention to. Now, different things can help with bipolar disorder. For me, 8 years ago, I decided to start a routine of medications. That grief process involved with that decision was difficult. Sometimes I would take the medicine and it would work fine, and then sometimes I realized I didn't want to take the medicine, and I would be done with it. I'd be like, why do I have to go to therapy? Why do I have to have bipolar disorder? Why do I have to take these medications? And I just wanted to keep that balance, but wasn't able to do it. And the biggest thing that I needed to learn was to accept it. And for me, maybe not for you, but for me, the most important step in my progress was acceptance. So learning to accept my medication routine and not be naive about the side effects and possibilities of not taking the medicine really helps me. Now, everyone has their different ways of treatment. You should know your prescriptions. Your doctor can have different opportunities and different options for you. Now, personally, I take 6 different medications for bipolar disorder. Now, that's a lot, but I know them all. I know their doses. I know what they're for. I am very knowledgeable in my medicines. And it's important for that empowerment for the deaf and hard of hearing community. It doesn't matter having that knowledge and ability to be happy, to you can accept your bipolar disorder and learn to cope with it. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me or comment below. Thank you. Have a great day.